Good evening and welcome to the 66 playtest session. This week we're testing Road to Petra. This is our 6th session as we sort of work our way through the adventure in little piecemeal chunks. The story so far, the players are part of a documentary film crew. They think they're just making a sort of like cable TV, science, UFO, history type program. And it turns out actually they've discovered magic is real. There is this place called the Outer Dark, which is a multi-dimensional place with all sorts of uncomprehendable creatures in there. Lots of strange stuff has happened. So I think we might say the shit got real. Now the crew have investigated their first episode of this TV series, and are moving on to record the second episode. The first episode was all about a plague. This next episode is about a village. Well, the villagers in this village have run away. They've abandoned their village because they say they are seeing ghosts. What's particularly interesting as a follow-on from their previous investigation is that a couple of months ago there was a shooting star. The shooting star was significant or played a part in their first investigation as well, and causing a plague. This second mystery, the ghost started appearing the night after the shooting star. So there's clearly, now the players are sort of up to speed with there's some idea of magic is real. I suspect their views on what they're likely to face may have shifted. So we're going to start off with, the players have sort of like 24 hours to search the internet and do some background research and things and ask any questions. So they're sitting in the hotel before setting off, and so they get to ask some questions. So what would you like to know more about?
Okay, I'm going to get stuck straight in with Christina. And yeah. Let's have a think. Well, her background's essentially in research languages.
Sorry, I've just realised I forgot to give you an important piece of information. I should always rely on what I've written down, not what's in my mind. Right, yes. The villagers abandoned their homes after seeing ghosts. What's particularly got your attention about this village, and why some of the internet has got excited about this village, is a TV crew from a local TV station went to spend the night in the village. They have not been seen since, and the entire village has been arrested.
Okay.
This does not fare well.
Okay, I'm on internet, the typing. I was definitely typing. There we go. Right. So TV crew missing, entire village arrested. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, right.
As you can imagine, the 14s and ufologists and etc. on the internet have, you know, gone wild about this, and it's got a little bit of mainstream news coverage as well, but it is right bang in the West Bank region, which is currently undergoing one of its occasional security shutdowns, and the tensions are very high. So you'll be the first people from outside really getting a chance to investigate this village and this strange happening.
Who's arrested them, Chris? The Palestinian authorities or the Israeli?
Yeah, I mean, all this. You don't really know, because there's a lot of this information is coming out third hand. So if you want to start digging, I'm going to need to start seeing some actions for gathering information, searching the internet, ringing up contacts, that sort of thing.
Okay, mostly I'm going to be getting stuck into searching the internet for previous ghost events that match this pattern.
Whereabouts are we in the world at this point?
You're in Ramallah, which is one of the major cities in the West Bank. It's in the north of the West Bank region. This village, which is called Zayta, Zayta, is in a remote and inhospitable area of the West Bank, as remote as you can get in one of the most densely populated places on the planet. And it's not far from the Hebron, which is one of the major cities. I think might even be the capital of the West Bank region. So it's going to take you a few hours to get to Hebron, and then it's like an hour or so from Hebron out to the village. And the sort of general plan your producer tells you is that you're going to check into a hotel at Hebron, and then, as necessary, make trips out to the village or elsewhere.
Interesting. I mean, I'd imagine the capital, there'd be a lot of people sort of talking about this room, this story stuff, with all the kind of information involved in that, with what they've heard, and people closer to second-hand information as well. I think anything that I would do, realistically, would be to try and get in touch with old associates back when I was in the army, in case there's anyone sort of been working in that kind of area. Because anyone who works in the army goes elsewhere are bound to bounce around from all kind of capital cities to all kind of regions, especially in the West Bank area. So I would see if I have a buddy or an old comrade who sort of works in the region with my background, see if they know any more about this than what I can just hear off the internet through the news and media.
Okay. Right. Well, both of you put together some actions. So work out what advantages you're going to use.
Technology, science, academic research, problem solving, memory, and academic. So 66 for me.
Okay, Kieran, we're using the Dice Streamer app. If you haven't got it loaded.
There it is.
I don't know.
Okay, I've just loaded it up, and Chris has as well, so it should pop up.
I see it now.
Okay, what advantages are you going for, Kieran?
Right. I'm going to go with my active life, which would refer to my active life being sort of in the armed forces as much as anything else.
Yeah, you'll have got to know a lot of people because you're busy doing things all the time.
I would have probably also gone with respect more than anything else, because anyone you worked with, you have to have a degree of respect, and both towards each other as well as to yourself. I would probably sort of mix in small talk, try and misdirect my intent to kind of
yeah.
But I mean, and before going to the information, I'd probably also try and use planning ahead. Knowing if I am talking to one of my war buddies, I've talked about war stories, what I've been doing on the side, leading into a kind of a build-up conversation into them. And I think with that, I would also put into patience with this. Because I need to bide my time to really build up the trust during those conversations to actually talk to them, but also patience to find someone in the region who would have known from my army days to talk to about this.
Yeah, what I'm imagining you're doing is like you phone up someone you vaguely know in the region, you get them to tell you the name and number of somebody else, and you sort of work down a chain until you find someone who actually might know something.
Yeah.
So that works for me. So yeah, roll your dice, people.
2, 3, let's see, 3, 4. That's 5d6.
Okay.
So, right, this is dice. So, oh, that's a very nice little roll thing.
Yeah, unfortunately, I realise we don't see it on your screen because you haven't got the camera going. So you're just to tell us the numbers, and we will trust you.
I have 2, 1, 1, 4, 5.
Which totals up to?
Total to 5, 9, 10, 13. Let me just double check my skills for a moment, because I think respect. I reroll ones on the dice.
Oh, well, that's lucky.
Advantage. So I'll reroll the 2 ones. And that gives me an additional 4 and a 3. So it's 7, 8, 9, 13, 18 total.
Okay, that's good. And Jay?
Yeah, rolling 66. Nice.
Good
Very
spread.
nice.
There's a 5, so take that to 10. 20.
20. Okay, so both of you got pretty reasonable, slightly above average rolls, I think, in the end. Okay, so let's see what you find out. I don't know if I click the right tab. There we go. Okay, one of the things both of you get as you sort of look into this pretty clearly is most of the information sort of like circling around the net and stuff is bollocks. It's just people's guesses. There's no sources. There's no nothing. But what you're getting now, you're pretty confident about. Jay, you do you first. You've turned up nothing of sort of similar links to villagers with ghosts and shooting stars, and whichever way you put it together, you're not finding anything comparable. But when you do, you do learn a little bit about the village as you sort of now in your searches trying to find if there's any sort of strange history to do with the village. It's a tiny hamlet. It's just 6 houses, and it's in some of the roughest terrain in the West Bank. It has olive trees. It's got there's a small oasis there in an otherwise very dry area, and there's an olive orchard there. And the village is very old, at least back to biblical times, but because of its small size, it's not really been properly recorded until about the 15th century. So pretty much you could summarise that up as there's a water source there in where there's no other water source, so there's a settlement, and there has been for a long time. But nothing you've turned up speaks of strangeness or supernatural.
Okay.
Now, Reem, on your more personal level, you find out the ghost started appearing the night after the shooting star, but it was almost an entire month, the 22nd of October, that the TV crew visited the village. Now, we're currently about sort of like the 26th, 27th of November. So a month after the shooting star or so, the crew went, and you're about a month behind after them. TV crew was from a local TV station called Aratel, Aratel. When the crew didn't return, the police searched the village. They found the crew's van, but nothing else about the no other signs about the three TV crew members. And yeah, the stuff you're getting is that the entire village is being held on suspicion of kidnapping and murder. And then, as you were doing the personal stuff, Kieran, what you also took, you pick up a little bit Aratel, one of your contacts gives you. It's the lowdown. It's a TV station run by a guy called Naji Ali, so Najialali. And he's a local politician who's very popular amongst the poorer section of the Palestinian population. He speaks out about corruption and is anti-violence on both Israeli and Arab sides. And he, as a local politician, he runs this TV channel, which really is done on an incredibly tiny budget, making very local community news programs. So yeah, that's pretty much all you found out. Any follow-up questions?
The team sent out from Aratel, were they sort of a regular outbound team? Was it a new team? Was it actually a group of very important people within that TV group?
You don't know. I mean, you're guessing because you watch a few sort of clips from the channel on YouTube, and it is really done on a shoestring. And you get the impression that a lot of the people working there are relatively young, out of college, or very little professional experience. So in one sense, they're not important. They're certainly not big wigs in any sense, but they'll probably be part of the team, and it's probably quite a small team running the station. So obviously, to the people concerned, they'll be important.
Okay. Did they send any kind of messages or emails or any contact back to the station before they disappeared? Was it a case of they arrived there and then the next thing that happened, they were gone?
All you can find out is the van sort of went there with a plan to stay the night. The following day, when the police turned up after it had been reported missing, they found the van and nothing else, and that's literally all you know, or all seems to be known.
Okay. I'm assuming that no one else was in the village when they went missing because the villagers had all fled.
Yeah, the village, as far as you know, is abandoned, and now currently everyone's under arrest.
Do we have any testimony from the villagers that's made it onto the internet?
No.
So I have no clue what they saw.
No,
I highly suspect it was the stand person we saw previously. Or something similar. Okay, right. We should probably go to the village then, really. Just have a quick think. Anything else to do?
I would find out if Najir Al-Ali has anyone who doesn't particularly like him or is directly against him at his kind of level on the political field or other kind of level of the television area. Because it could be a competitive thing rather than an actual supernatural thing. Not everything has to be crazy. It could be just some competitor out there, and it is a contested zone in terms of what can happen outside of a safe city zone or a safe town.
So yeah, I mean, certainly if there's any foul play, there's just human on human foul play, then yeah, it was a good place to do it because it's the middle of nowhere. And people do go missing. There are smugglers and things happen, so yeah, it's perfectly plausible. As you're sort of chewing that over and sort of making your plans, you've got to drive over to Hebron and check into your hotel, which you'll do. Are you obviously travelling in your convoy of 3 vehicles with your logos emblazoned all over them? Mystery Science TV. The journey is, while it's not that far, it's only something like about 40 or 50 miles. Because of the security situation, there's quite a lot of checkpoints as you pass through different zones controlled by the Israelis or the Palestinians. So it's, while a short journey, it takes a fair amount of the day up. So you're checking into the hotel sort of mid-afternoon. And you're at the Telenova Hotel, another featureless bland international corporate chain. So yeah, we'll do, yeah. But as you sort of stand outside the hotel, the producer wants some talking heads to camera for the show. Now, obviously, so it was going to do the others and other presenters, but Christina, would you like to sort of like explain your situation and why you're here and what you hope to achieve?
Right, which hotel are we outside of?
The Telenova in Hebron.
Okay, so this is where we've just arrived, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Right, okay, so here we are outside the Hotel Telenova. Not anywhere nice. We're still in the West Bank. It's hot. Oh, so very hot. and I don't have any gin, so it's unbearably hot. Why are we out here? Well, we're basically looking at these ghost stories. Now, if you'd asked me a week and a half ago, I'd have told you that most likely these people were hallucinating, and I've asked them to have the water tested, and that most likely the missing TV crew had just buggered off as refugees somewhere. However, given the horrors that we've experienced recently, I'm probably going to bet that the stone we're looking for has ended up wandering past this way. And there's most likely, I don't doubt we're going to find some spells scrolled around the place. Quite why the people we're tracking down have come through this little village remains to be seen. Maybe the fourth man came from here, and she looked pensively into the distance.
Something you did very good with the camera. Yeah, hold it. Good. One thing, you did find in the place where you found their camp at the end of last episode something from the newspaper about this story. Something had been ripped out of the newspaper about this village. Okay, right, you're sort of checked in, you got yourself sorted. Producer wants to know where to go.
Oh, just quickly, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have a list of the names of the villages?
No, you don't.
That's not on a publicly available census?
No.
Interesting. Okay. Could I have made that search check before we got here?
Yes, you could have. So you actually want a list of everyone in the village, or?
Yeah.
I suspect, I've no idea for sure, but I suspect the Palestinian authorities isn't at a high enough tech level to have electoral rolls online and that sort of thing. And the village itself is pretty remote, so wouldn't have very good internet connectivity at all. So
Okay.
I think you can find nothing about who these people are.
Okay. Well, we want to go to the village, basically, and have a look round. Assuming it's not under quarantine.
Nope. Okay. You can jump in your cars. It takes about an hour to get there. The producer wants to know, well, you're not planning to spend the night there, are you?
No.
Not the first night, anyway.
No.
Okay, that's good. He looks a bit relieved at that. Actually, all the team looks a bit relieved at that idea. Okay, so you jump in your cars and drive off. It's about 20 miles from the city, and it really is in a remote location. You're several miles from any other settlements. The village itself sits in a long, narrow, steep-sided valley of parched sand and bare rocks. 4 homes are built of breeze blocks and corrugated metal sheets, and each home has a garden containing dead and dying plants. Obviously, you can see this. He's just like driving up and pulling up. A small orchard of olive trees is surrounded by a low, dry stone wall. A well sits to one side of the village. Various buckets, troughs, and piping form what is obviously a primitive human-powered irrigation system connected to the gardens and orchard.
Where does this village sit? Is it sort of in a valley, or...?
Yeah, it's a long, narrow valley, which eventually leads down to the River Jordan. Very long sort of defile.
Is the river flowing at the moment?
No. Eventually, by eventually I mean by about 30, 40 miles away.
Okay. Sorry, I meant, is there so there's obviously the pool or the oasis is here. Can we see where the water is flowing into it?
No, there's a well. You get the impression that the well is the source of the water, and as no one's lifting water out of the well, no water is flowing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, first thing I'll do is go to, or try to get to, top of the valley walls on either side around this village to get a look from above of the kind of terrain. If they have been kidnapped somewhere, it would have to be somewhere within sort of a walking distance of shelter from the sun. So Trying to
Okay.
pipe under the cabins or place where you could secrete people.
Yeah, one of the camera crew will go with you, and probably something to get a long shot of the valley. Say, oh, that'll make great TV. That will. So yeah, that you can do that. Christina, what's your plan?
Yeah, just have a wander around, really. Just get a feel for it. Essentially, how many huts are there?
4.
Going into each of the huts, essentially, and just having a look around, really. Obviously, looking out for the symbols we already know about.
Okay. Well, both of you, yeah. You get to the top of the ravine of the valley, no problem, and get to a good vantage point, and you can see the entire area. Nothing jumps out. There seems to be no other structures in the valley. You can see in the distance on the other side of the valley, or sort of like over the ridge into the next valley, you can see there's another village and things like that, 2 or 3 miles away. But at the actual village, your village itself is quite isolated. There's no signs of any other settlements around. There's no signs of any electricity or lights or anything like that. So completely barren.
Very strange.
Christina, as you look around, the houses are abandoned. Dust and sand is starting to accumulate. All the sort of large items of furniture and household fittings are present, but day-to-day items, sort of bits of clothes and sort of like obvious small things seem to be gone. If you want to sort of like, there's no obvious symbols anywhere. If you want to sort of like probe more closely, you're going to need to put some search together.
Yep, okay. 14, using problem-solving, quick wits, and traveller.
Quick wit's actually really going to help you search.
Okay, fine.
Just wondered, if you had a good reason for it.
3.
3. No, that's it. The houses are abandoned. There's nothing else of interest you can see around the houses.
Okay.
Reem, are you coming back down?
I will do eventually, but I'm just taking a long kind of look around the terrain, trying to really kind of gaze, know why set up a position like this when you're so far away from a proper water supply. There's no real kind of growing area. It doesn't feel right, because based on my village life back experience, it's a nice place to settle down temporarily, but you wouldn't set up a long-term village like this here. There's something not quite right in my own mind. So I'm trying to look for anything that would keep people here in this location, using that kind of history and knowledge myself.
Okay. Give me a roll.
Right, I'm going to use my village life. That's one of the things. My sharp eyes and my patience.
No, so yeah, that makes sense. You carefully scan.
Trying to see if there's anything any weird landmarks or any weird points where it might be of interest to a village, even one as old as this one. It's got to have some kind of historical point to it. I think that really is it. And that will give me an almighty 7.
How many dice was that?
3 dice.
Uh-huh.
Kind of a bit.
Yeah. The only thing you say that the water supply is the only thing which would possibly be any reason for anyone to be here. Clearly, that somebody, hundreds, maybe thousands of years ago, sort of started to scratch a living out of this valley with using the water, and people have just basically stayed since. It's not got any bigger because there is only a well, so there's a limit to how big it can grow. So you suspect that it's just one of these, places that hasn't changed in, possibly a couple of thousand years, So very primitive. Looking up and down the valley, there's the orchard, there's the houses. That really is it. There seems to be nothing else at all.
Well, in that case, after that, head back down to the village, find Christina, let her know what I've not found, and see where she wants to go from there. She is one of the main people of the show as much as anybody else, so you can use that to information to make the next recording of this episode. If there's anything else we're doing.
Sorry, just to clarify, did they find the equipment of the missing TV crew?
Yeah, they found the van.
But none of the actual gear they were carrying with them?
You've no idea. All you know that they found an abandoned TV van and no sign of the people.
Okay, I'm going to make another attempt at looking with, concentration, since frankly none of the skills I have actually apply. Just to see if I can work out, based on the stuff we've got on the... Actually, no. Alright, it's going to be a long shot. Looking at the floor, can I see if any large crates, i.e. TV equipment stuff, so that I'm familiar with TV production, I'd know what kind of tracks those kind of things would leave, which means I can use my memory. It gives me a 2d6 plus problem solving. Essentially, look at the dirt in the huts and stuff and try and work out which of the huts the TV crew set up in for the night.
You know what? I can aid you with that, because I do have the cooperative skill. So I'll aid you in that kind of search and valuation.
Well, see, I've also got cooperative, which means I can use it as well.
So you can cooperate. Have you got anything else you can throw in, Reem?
Oh yeah, I've got sharp eyes. I've got estimates to work out weight of, if there is a drag mark, I can work out sort of the weight of it, how far they dragged it, that kind of thing. So even possibly how long they had it in place there for, based on that kind of impression it's left on the ground. So that could also benefit in this kind of thing. So
well, in that case, I'm mostly helping you.
Yeah, I could probably put 3d6 to this easily enough.
Yeah. Well, that's a fair. Well, if you roll your 3d6 and I roll mine, and we'll see what we get.
Okay then.
Better.
Much better for me as well. I have 11 in total.
I have 13.
Okay, 24, 46, that's not bad. Okay, first of all, in terms of sort of like tracks and things like that, outside there's really nothing. There are tracks, but you probably disturbed a lot of them as you turned up. There's probably been numerous police vehicles here. So evidence outside, you don't find anything. In one of the houses, you find a few empty food tins and a dirty plate sitting on the table, as if someone had been eating here. There's several tins and one plate, which suggests it might not be the TV crew, unless there was one very hungry person. That suspicions, I suspect, might be reinforced as you both notice it, but probably Kieran wouldn't twig its importance. But you notice, Christina, an empty henna packet, as in the type you use to do temporary tattoos, stuffed in one of the bins. For Kieran's benefit, and these symbols, there seem to be linked to writing, and at least one person you know has written them on their body with henna, and this seems to sort of makes them stronger or more connected or something.
We've actually, the TV crew has been using ink versions of them to write wards put together by Mark's character to protect us from the diseases we were running around against last week. So we've actually still got these pen tattoos on us. Because we all felt really ill, then we wrote these things down and we all started feeling better.
Is there any working out what tattoos they were using based on what's the remains of the packets?
No, it's literally just an empty packet.
Okay, that is vaguely useful. That doesn't kind of imply the fourth man.
Actually, how old does this stuff look like it was? Is it like a couple of days old, about a month old? Basically, kind of build up of any kind of mold or dirt on there.
Um, it's not fresh. I mean, from you can some very empty food tins. I mean, there's some the scraps left in it have all really dried out and are caked on. So more than a few days is probably about all you can tell.
Okay. You see, it could be from the team that were here a month ago, but it goes from sort of a week or two ago. So it leaves it open for who would have been here next.
Yeah,
so it
there's
could have been
no.
one of the local villagers nearby, because there is one sort of over the valley. They could be regular traders, or there could be someone sort of in between, who moves between both as traders.
Alright, so we're a month after the TV crew vanished then, and this kit doesn't look anywhere near that old?
Well, you can't really tell. It's more than a few days old, but whether it's, it could be 2 months old, it could be 1 month old, it could be 2 weeks old. It's really impossible to tell. There's certainly no signs that it's like recent in the last 24, 48 hours.
It's essentially on top of the other evidence, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, your best guess.
That occurred.
Yeah, your best guess that the tins and the plates certainly happened after the village was abandoned, but you've got no way of knowing how it fits in relation to the arrival and disappearance of the TV crew.
Well, the small number of it is the interesting bit. Do we find any evidence of the TV crew?
None whatsoever.
Okay. Do we find any evidence of... I suppose this place has been so kicked over by the police that the odds of finding evidence... Yeah. The thought I had was there was evidence of people living there, TV crew disappeared, everything gets scrubbed, then the police turn up. But of course, the police turning up is going to completely screw any evidence of it being hidden.
Unless the police are involved.
And they've made a point of...
There is one place we haven't checked.
where's that?
The well. How
Okay.
big of a well is it?
How big is the well?
Okay, let's have a look at the well.
I mean, this kind of environment, the kind of heat, the kind of weather, you want places that's going to be moist, shaded, cool, if you're going to hide anything for any longer period of time for storage purposes. And in some village communities, the well is more than just a water hole. It's a place to put things into sort of a cool storage. So there might be a way down into the lower depths of the well.
Yeah, right, yeah. Sorry, I was just finding the bit which was helpfully labelled "investigating the well." Right. Okay. So yeah, having a look at the well. Around the top of the well is a low, crude mud brick wall circling the 4-foot diameter shaft. Half a dozen or more lengths of thick cord hang down the well shaft, and there's plastic jugs or tins attached to the ends as makeshift buckets. At a quick glance, it's quite deep. You know, without checking, it's more than it's not just like 10 foot deep. It's certainly more than that.
But it's 4 foot wide. That's pretty wide.
Sorry, I didn't hear.
The width of the well, is that actually sort of from one end of the wall to the other end of the wall, or is it actually sort of the inside diameter where the hole is being 4 foot wide?
Yeah, the actual hole is 4 foot wide.
That's a wide hole.
It's a big well.
Can we see the bottom?
No. It won't take you a moment to work out its depth because you can obviously just pull up one of the cords and sort of see how long it is. But it's roughly 100 feet deep.
How old is this well?
That's a good question. Can you answer that?
That is also a good question.
Well, I'm the historian and the archaeologist. I'll get to that.
absolutely. I also have history here.
And you can cooperate, so yeah.
I can cooperate with you, so I can give you sort of 2d6 on that easily
That's
enough.
not cooperate. And you're bringing in academic research, technology, problem solving, and memory. So I've got 66.
I'm adding another 2 on top of there, so...
Okay, give me some dice.
One thing it'd be worthwhile, Chris, noting for my character,
Mm-hmm.
the science and technology stuff is kind of useful, but she's listed as being a historian and a linguist. Some kind of history advantage would be useful.
No, that's true. She is missing that. So okay, yep. I'll make a note of that. I think your character really does need to be redone because I think it's just a little bit misaligned, as we found last week. Anyway, okay, so yeah, roll your dice.
Yeah.
Well, on the plus side, I've rolled well, so it counters out the low roll there.
Oh, that's a lot of ones.
2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 12 on 6 bloody dice.
Have you got any re-rolling dice skills to use in that package, Lat?
No, not that I used. I can't really reason debate myself into getting this right.
Well, I've managed to get 10, so it just goes a little bit better. On my
Okay. Okay, so yeah. Okay, well, what you discover, well, physically, as you examine it for archaeological clues, the well shaft is actually cut through solid rock and has distinctive marks of picks and chisels seen in the wall. This well clearly been made by hand, requiring a great deal of work, obviously, to go through solid rock. Your guess is that it will be very old indeed.
So what? About the age of the village, a couple of thousand years?
I mean, it could easily be a couple of thousand years. It could be, you know, a few hundred years old, but to be honest, it could be 3,000 or 4,000 years of old. One thing which you will spring to mind, particularly to you, Christina, is this might be what's known as I'll call it quant, Q-A-N-A-T. These are stuff that were built about 2,000, 3,000 years ago as a way of moving water across the desert, and literally they dug tunnels, deep shafts into hills, and then dug horizontal tunnels, basically to form an aqueduct. And the longest that, you know, there's one known to run 97 kilometers. 97 kilometers underground and built entirely by hand. But certainly one of these, quite a major one about Roman era, in the northern end of Palestine / Israel. So you're in the right region for one of these really old sort of well systems.
So this could have originally been sort of a settlement set up during the time of the aqueducts, the underground aqueduct system being set up. It's just been staying there ever since.
Yeah, that's right.
So it wouldn't be a leap to assume there would be walking area down there for people to be taken down to or travel down.
Well, there'll be a tunnel to obviously move the water. So it's
going to be enough to at least crawl in if it was cut by hand.
Yeah, and what you know is that they tend to sink access tunnels every sort of, depending how they built it, maybe every mile or half mile, and obviously dig down 2 tunnels and then go to meet each other. It could be quite extensive.
Okay. Does the well have any sort of top or canopy over the top of it?
No, it doesn't.
Yeah. Okay. Is there a bucket down there already?
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different ropes hanging down with various sort of things, plastic jugs and tin cans on the end of.
Okay. Is there anything down there at the moment, or are they all up?
No, there's several down.
All right. I pull them all up.
Okay. Yep, you can do that. Some water comes up.
Okay, does it smell bad?
Nope, it's very cool and fresh.
I'm not drinking it.
Well, I mean, you get some of your hands because the ropes are wet.
Yes.
So yes, it's very cool.
I ain't drinking it. In fact, I washed my hands off.
With what?
The handheld alcoholic disinfectant I've got in my pack.
Okay.
Right. What I'm gonna do, is get one of the trucks reviews from the convoy for the TV crew.
Mm-hmm.
Have it moved over, and one of these trucks we use for recruitment is going to have a tow line on there for towing a vehicle if it does break down in the middle of the desert area. Get one of the tow lines set up to go down the well, get a torch, and then get ready to carefully sort of go down, basically well diving carefully, to have a look at the aqueduct system, see if there has been sort of more recent activity from people down there.
Okay.
It's a likely spot to take someone if you're going to kidnap at this point. A place the police wouldn't have thought of gone.
Okay, yeah, that seems reasonable. You haven't really got the kit for it. I mean, you've got, a winch on the vehicle seems entirely plausible, and obviously you've got a cable and a hook, but you don't have like any stuff to clip yourself on with, so you'd literally be holding on to it. And yeah, not a major problem. You can use it actually sort of like a rope and sort of belay yourself with it. So it's not going to be ideal, but it's certainly doable.
Well, I was in the Lebanese army. Anything pretty much works where we go.
Yeah, and to be honest, you could probably climb it. So yeah, I'm not actually going to require a roll to.
May as well be using the tow line of the truck, because that can lower us down and bring us back up again without too much of a hassle.
Yeah, and should you wish to get out in a hurry, or there's some other reason why it might get difficult, you might need some rolls getting out. But certainly taking your time getting in won't be an issue. Okay, so who wants to go in?
I'm not. Not in a million years is Christina going down that hole.
I'm going in.
Okay.
With a torch and a crowbar, if possible.
The torch can certainly be addressed, and the crowbar. Well, we can lower one down to you. I was just thinking a bit awkward to carry.
That's true. Yeah, don't bother. Just give me the torch. So
Yeah,
we can look around. And a camera.
Cameraman's going to come down after you, so you'll get low down, and he'll come down after you.
Cozy.
And so, as you are sort of like going to be the person going down first and on camera, we'll do a piece to camera before you go down.
Hello. Well, based on the area of the village, this is the only place that the disappeared TV crew could have gone to. It's underground, it's quiet, it's going to be cold down there, so we'll be sheltered from the heat, and it would be the one place the police would have forgotten to check. So, as experienced person and security, this is best for me to go down and investigate before anyone else does. Now, it will be cold, it will be dark, and it will be sleepy, but I know my way. I've done this before.
Excellent. I hadn't realised she was Russian.
Lebanese isn't. There is traits of Lebanese that have that similar kind of accentation. Not a huge amount, but I have no idea how to do Lebanese accent, so it's my best guess.
Yeah, exactly. It's not one you get off to do often, is it? At any rate, but better than mine would have been. Okay, so yeah, no problem. Excellent piece to camera. Okay, you're getting filmed lowered down. Okay, the shaft of the well descends 100 feet. You sort of very carefully and gingerly sort of get lowered down. It goes down and then opens up into a chamber about 10 foot square. The bottom of the chamber is full of water. Do you want to be lowered right down into the water?
Keep going until it gets to my waist. If it goes no lower than that, stop.
Okay, it stops. Well, it's about 3 feet deep, so it's probably going to be about your waist anyway. You just touch bottom just as you're getting worried. So you're now standing in 3 foot of water, a chamber about 10 foot square, and there is a tunnel running off, about 5 foot high tunnel running off from the chamber. Are you doing anything while the cameraman comes down?
I'm going to. Well, is the water flowing, or is it just kind of stagnated?
It's neither. It's certainly not stagnant, but it's not like noticeably flowing. It's entirely possible there's just a very slight gradient.
So there's probably an outflow point for water coming down the aqueduct system, and we're just sort of cycling in and out, but not at a high speed or a high pace to keep it fresh.
There's only one tunnel going off, which suggests it's either at the beginning or the end of a system. Because logically, everywhere else would have two.
I suppose then, look for any strange markings, any of the symbols we've seen so far, any kind of scratch marks or scrapings on the wall that may indicate some kind of a struggle or someone being trapped down here.
Okay.
Three things we're looking for with the torchlight.
Okay, you can do that. As you do that, the cameraman's being lowered down. You notice that the chamber is cut out of the bedrock like the shaft. There's the primitive chisel marks and all those sorts of signs of hand tools. No sign of anything modern down here. And yeah, it is old. Yes, probably haven't got the skill to date it, but it certainly would be an old and massive construction.
Interesting.
Splash. Cameraman arrives.
Ah, good. Water's deep, but don't worry. Just tighten. You'll be fine. This way.
He lets out a high-pitched noise as the water reaches gonad level.
Be manly. Dream like a man. Deep voice. Also, keep quiet. We don't know who down here. And then start moving down the 5 foot corridor. Actually, no. Stop there. Do a small recording scene. All the fact that you can see age of well system here. This was here long time ago. Not beaten down by weather. Just water. Markings indicate same kind of age as construction. Tunnel leading off. This either the start or end of water system. Let's go.
Just quickly, Kieran.
Yep.
The markings, are they...
They're just chisel marks or construction marks, nothing else. There's nothing else down there.
Okay. Chris, given the modern technology, would it be possible for us at the top of the world to be getting a live feed?
Yes, it would be. Yeah, absolutely no problem with that.
Okay. Just make a note of that then. Live feed recording.
Yeah.
Okay then. So, start moving down the corridor system.
Okay, yeah, the tunnel's 5 foot high, so you and the cameraman are probably having to crouch a bit, and it's 3 foot deep, so it's quite difficult to move through and cramped. But there really isn't any sort of like hindrance or problem. You're sort of very cautiously moving on because obviously you can't see where your feet are being put. Tunnel goes 10 foot and keeps going. Are you carrying on?
Right. Yes, I would. Keep going for about another, I'd say 50 or so feet. If we're still going by that point, then we will turn around because there's going to be too much of an expansive area to search properly. Without spending the time and effort, I have to be aware of the time we're out here for. We don't want to spend the night out here after all.
Yeah, we've got about an hour till sundown, I'd say.
Exactly. We need to pack up the equipment and then head back before we start doing anything else, so I don't want to be out here too long.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you judge it about right because about 50 foot from the well, you come to a place where the tunnel has collapsed and is completely blocked.
Recent collapse or?
No, this looks old. Just on sort of a matter of orientation, you think that this tunnel seems to be going in a pretty straight line down the valley, which would suggest that the well you came down is the head of the system, and there's probably a spring here, or you're tapping into the water table here.
Okay. Well, this is the end of our journey down here. But you'll see, ancient people make great technology. Don't need these fancy drills or giant machines. Axes and picks, that's all you need. Let's go back to the surface, where it's horribly warm.
You've reached the point where the aquifer is entirely filled, the aqueduct's filled with water, and you can't get any further.
Well, it's blocked in with rock, because
Yeah.
tunnels collapsed. So, it's heavy labour, and there's no telling if taking away the rocks won't just lead to a further break of the tunnel system.
Okay, how far down have you gone?
About 50 feet, he said?
Yeah.
Okay, Christina, then, we know roughly which direction you went from about on the surface, don't we?
Yes, you've got a very good idea.
Yeah, alright, well, Christina turns around and walks that 50 feet.
It's heading down the village, so down the valley, sorry. So, yeah, you're sort of just beyond the outskirts of the village. You kept looking in the direction. You can really just see, well, immediately on your left is going to be the current orchard, and further down, beyond the orchard, though, is just more rocks and stuff, empty barren valley.
I'm just wondering if the ground beneath my feet is sunken, that's all.
No sign of it. I mean, it's 100 foot deep, and it's only filled a 5-foot tunnel, so probably wouldn't show.
Yeah, but it does mean that if you were to take it out, there's a chance that it won't fill all the way. If it had all been down by a 5 foot, then
could be a partial collapse rather than a complete collapse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because if it had gone in from above, then you'd have to take the entire column of soil out.
Whereas if it was just that section of the tunnel, then it could be passable.
Yeah.
For removal. Okay, that makes sense. The question
so you might have a go at it. I wouldn't recommend necessarily doing it without
the right tools
and rebreather gear.
Yeah, but do we need to do that? Because this tunnel collapsed a while ago. We're not talking sort of a couple of weeks, talking about probably years ago. Then is it necessary for us to take it out?
Is there any natural light down there?
None whatsoever.
Okay. Right. So we wouldn't be able. There'd be no. If it had happened a while ago, then there would be signs on the rock that it had been wet for a long time.
Yeah. You can sort of investigate that. What have you got, Kieran?
Well, let's see. I've got sharp eyes. I've got patience. I have got absolutely. I've got estimate. Estimate could technically be validated because we look at the kind of the wear and tear of the rocks, make a rough kind of guess at how old it is based on what I've observed. And if Christina has that kind of knowledge or how to work out that kind of age, that kind of degradation, she could cooperate in helping me assess what I'm seeing.
I think given that you're sort of on the end of sort of walkie-talkies and stuff, I think cooperating is going to be a bit difficult.
So in that case, really, it's going to be estimate, sharp eyes, and patience, trying to spend the time to work it out, getting up close to it, looking at the rock by hand.
Yep. So go for it.
I've got some science stuff and cooperative. So over the radio, I can give you an extra 2d6.
No, I think realistically that you can't really help him given the situation.
I can tell what we're looking for.
Yeah, the problem is really about it's the looking business. He's in a very cramped environment and walkie-talkies and limited light. So I think I'd apply so many negs on it or cancel out. Okay, so give me a roll.
11.
Okay, good. What as you sort of start probing around and sort of like getting sort of trying to get the feel for it. Certainly the collapse does seem to be old. Whether that's old in 50 years or 500 years, you have absolutely no idea. But it's old. It's very solid as well. But as you sort of like probing around, and just again it says you disturb something in the water, and find some clothes and a bag, and you sort of like you grab those and sort of hold them up to the camera to show them what you think. So there's obviously some modern clothes and a bag, and just there, as you're sort of doing that, you notice there's something scraped on the ceiling. There seems to be markings.
Right. What I'll do is I will sort of try and direct the camera to looking at the clothes and the bag with one hand, while I sort of glance up and look at the symbols on the ceiling, just to see what's there first before drawing the attention of the camera, to make sure that some random markings of a chip in looks odd. One which actually is something to record, rather than just me going, that looks odd. Oh, it's nothing, and drawing the attention away falsely.
Okay, no, that's good. Good TV sense. Really hard to spot them because it looks like something's been scratched on the ceiling. So in the dark, on dark stone, which is wet, they really don't stand out. It was just purely sort of luck as much as anything. You put your hand on it as you sort of turned around and felt them. But they are definitely, you don't look at them closely, but they are definite deliberate symbols, you think.
Alright, take a high-res picture of them.
I was planning to.
And we'll look at them when we get back out.
Okay, yeah, you can, you'll take photographs and film it and stuff like that.
Have the cameraman start doing long looks at the ceiling all the way back the 50 foot, in case there are other markings we missed along the way that a high-res search would find.
Okay, so now you've got some idea what you're looking for, you can sort of check on the way back. As you sort of work your way very cautiously back, pretty much fingertipping the ceiling, just feeling as much as anything else, you discover nothing.
Okay.
But No, it's a good idea. And you get back to the sort of the main well shaft.
Drag the clothes back,
yeah. To be honest, let the cameraman go up first. Have him take the clothes with him, and I'll take the bag up with me.
Mm-hmm.
So it keeps the loads kind of even that way.
Yeah. No problem. As you're getting out, I mean, you're sort of like quite glad. It's probably taken, you've been down there probably best part of half an hour. And you're actually quite cold. Yeah. So you're quite glad to get out of the well shaft. And you get out no problem, taking your time. Given it's going to be dark soon, do you wish to investigate the things here, or to make your exit while you've still got plenty of light?
Well, I don't see anything supernatural here, really. It's just a case of someone's left their bags and clothes down at the bottom of the well. There's obviously got caught in some kind of flow into the wall. We've found a person may have been here for the last month or so, possibly, eating food and off a tray and out of cans. There's no hint at guess as to who actually took them. I don't see any particular danger. We should stay the night. Or go to the comfortable bed at the hotel.
Let's go to the comfortable bed in the hotel. Let's stay the night later.
Comfort always wins.
Yeah. More information better than staying here first. Besides, back at the hotel, we can go through this bag of clothes better.
Absolutely.
Okay. You jump in your cars. Yeah, the rest of the crew are quite happy with that idea. And you drive back. You eventually warm up, Rima. And you get back and get into, you'll probably all crowd into somebody's room and have a look at the stuff. Right, so the very easy stuff. The clothes in the bag are unremarkable. They're modern but generic. Anyone, you see hundreds of these every day on the street, sort of stuff. But there is a wallet in the pockets. It contains a photo ID of an Ahmad Yassin, who you recognise
as a member of the Aratel TV crew.
Nope.
Really?
As the fourth person. And you were following in the original episode. 3 who turned up dead. The 4th one was missing. The 4th one is still missing, but at least you have an ID, and his photo matches the photo you already have of him. So
he could also be the 4th man we found food eating in the hut.
Yeah, would make sense. Go quite why he's binned his gear down here. I suppose he binned his gear down here because he didn't want it found.
And let's face it, we only came across it because I actually thought about the well. No one else would have, so it would have been missed entirely.
Is it a waterproof bag?
no.
So it's binned, it's dumped.
Yeah, it shows all the signs of being dumped. The clothes weren't even in the bag. They were all scattered. In fact, you're probably missing a sock and stuff, so it looks dumped.
So...
Is there anything in the bag?
No, nothing of note.
So, photo ID, empty bag, generic clothes, dumped.
Okay.
The question is, where's the rest of his... What's he wearing now?
Yeah. Okay, the other thing, obviously, is the symbols. When you get back, you've got a good high-definition photo, and probably even tweak it a little bit on Photoshop just to give you the contrast so you can see the symbols clearly. There are 3 symbols here. You've seen them all before. Now, Kieran, what the crew have discovered is that these symbols have magical powers, but to use them and understand them, you have to be awoken. It comes to some people. It's not come to you, but it has come to Christina. Now, these symbols she'll instantly recognise anyway are the one, if you look at that link I gave you, by the way, okay, the one beyond, which is the 3rd row middle, so the thin stick with a little thing next to it. I just lost my place. The outer dark, which is 4th row middle, the big black blob.
With the dot.
Yep. And the last one is Starstone, which is 2nd row, 3rd along.
Which is the 2 dots with a meteor streak off one of them.
Yeah, and that's the... in the past you've found that to be related to this missing artifact, this missing stone taken from the museum.
Okay.
Chris, which of these ones has been used for warding again?
The one beyond is definitely being used for warding. The outer dark has been used for warding, but your impression is more sort of about power, anything else.
And the Starstone's the enabler, the actor, the do, isn't it?
Yeah, it generally seems to be. I'm looking at the symbols. Actually, when you come to now, you sort of look at the symbols and have a think about them. It actually seems to be that the Starstone is providing the power in this instance, but its purpose seems to be to establish a portal into the outer dark.
Oh, okay, that will explain where the bugger went then. Dumped his gear, scrawled that on the wall, and just went straight through somewhere.
So he's gone to another dimension.
That's why we're having trouble finding him.
He's gone somewhere else. That's your sort of like first impression. You can investigate further if you wish by putting some dice together.
Yeah, it's a bit tricky. We really needed Mark's character for that. He'd rip through this.
Yeah, that's right. Well, actually, to be honest, because you would struggle without him. If he hadn't been here, someone else would have taken up appropriate skills.
Just to mention, Chris, Kieran, Mark's character actually has the spell symbols as equipment.
Right.
Yeah,
that would have really helped in trying to get this stuff understood.
Yeah, Mark's character just had the revelation and completely believed it, and so he essentially become a mage.
Yeah, Christina has also had the revelation, but refuses to believe it.
Jim's helping with this.
Yeah. Mark's character will sort of have a look at this and have a study of it. When he looks into it in more detail, your initial assessment was wrong. These aren't making a portal. What they are doing is protecting someone from the effects of the portal. So they're designed to actually protect whoever's passing through the portal. It's nothing to do with creating the portal.
Maybe this portal was actually the rubble, and the rubble is actually more of a doorway. But to pass through, you need a certain thing active on yourself to be able to pass through it to where it goes.
Believable that the Outer Dark wouldn't be a nice place, and that if you wanted to travel through it, you would need to protect yourself. Okay, it's kind of interesting that he scrawled this on the well and not on himself.
It's a little bit.
Protection from the portal transport. Is it a boundary spell? Essentially, is there a portal down there, and this has closed it?
No, you don't think so. There definitely seems to be helping somebody passing through, protecting them or whatever.
Does the markings look fresh, as in someone recently put it on the stone? Because that would look drastically different from an old marking on a rock.
Yeah, yes, you can tell that these ones are fresh. I mean, they've not been scratched with any precision. I mean, previously when you've seen them, and you have seen them scratched into walls before, people have taken a great deal of effort and really gone over and scratched them deep. These are actually quite shallow, look like they've been made pretty hastily.
Okay, well, the TV crew, they wouldn't have gone down the well, so... Brooks dumped all this stuff. Dumping the stuff down the well makes sense. I'm just trying to work out why he's got that spell on the wall of the well.
Well, look at it from a different perspective. Let's assume that the TV crew did show up. They were getting their stuff set up. And that there was a portal down in the well, something that caused the collapse of the tunnel. If whatever it was down there, or something within the region of the village itself, caused the difference with the TV crew, then maybe Yassid found out about this, was trying to evade whatever it was that came through that portal, realised the source was the well, went down there to close it, but before he could escape it, he was pulled in there as it activated, trapping him on the other side.
I would agree if he was a nice person. He's not. He's part of a bioterrorist cell who's been using the power of the Starstone to kill hundreds of people.
Yeah, it's obviously, Kieran, you
That's a point. We don't know about that point. Yeah, okay.
Basically, he was behind the plague, as far as you can tell.
Ooh.
And we're reasonably sure he's responsible for the death of the other 3 members of his cell.
Ooh.
One of them was a living biobomb, another one we found cut up and turned into a booby trap, and the third we believe was discorporeated.
Ooh. Okay. Going on that line.
Nice idea, but I reckon more like the lines of there is a portal down there, it took the TV crew, and the bloke went and just happened to be passing through and just used the portal. It could be possible that the collapse has fallen down and closed it. I am kind of interested about trying to scratch those off and seeing what happens.
Okay. I take it I'm being volunteered for that scratching job.
Yeah, I'm not going down there. Not unless we really have to.
No, I should be able to do it fine. Just make sure we've got some better equipment for this in the morning. I mean, proper harnessing and...
Yeah, I mean, you'll be able to pick that up somewhere.
Yeah. And I'm going to want to set up something in front of that rock face wall after I do scratch it out, so before I do, so make sure if it is a portal that does come through there, it's got to go through that first. So I got plenty of time to run.
Maybe some basically short lengths of wood, 2x4s, partly to support the roof and partly to form a blockage.
I was thinking like something I could see through, like some kind of plastic sheet or something like that.
Plastic sheeting it would be no problem, but it's not going to slow much down, is it?
I'll put something behind that and sort of in front of it to sort of reinforce it, but don't slow it down for a couple of seconds while I'm running up the tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
Just advanced planning. It's all part of who I am. I want to be able to see what I'm running from, as much as anything else.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay, so we'll rest for the night. In the morning, got some harness gear, some plastic sheeting, some support for it to stick up against the wall. I'll go down, scratch the markings out, and then prepare to run for my life.
Basically, yes.
Okay, then.
Okay.
Sounds like a terrible plan. No flaws whatsoever.
Absolutely not. Okay, so yeah, you could do all of that, no problem. We'll cut to the chase. Things were sort of only play testing. So yeah, you next morning you buy your stuff, you head out to the village, feeling a lot safer. You go down again with the cameraman, and you splash down at the bottom, and it's exactly as you left it.
Right. I want the cameraman being about 20 or 30 foot back from me with a long lens camera on there, so he's nowhere near it in case something does happen, and he can run first.
Well, what he can do, he can stay in the main shaft, and he can actually give you a little remote camera.
Oh yeah, you can
stick
be safe all the way back there. I keep forgetting that. Everyone can be safe except for me.
Yeah, actually what you can do is you get a hard hat, and then you can glue a small camera to the side of it.
Okay. Get that. Get the plastic sheet and some bracing for it, so I can sort of force it into the wall place, keep it intact to kind of act as a bit of extra protection. And then with this all set up, get the recording going, give my last will and testament, and scratch the markings.
So, obviously you were talking about marks cut into rock. The only way to sort of realistically remove them is to just like do lots of scratches on top of them.
My intent was to sort of have a chisel and a hammer, and just break any one of the three symbols in any random order. Probably the power symbol's been the meteor ready rocky starstone thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just go right across the middle, just chisel in a line across to break it, and see what happens.
Yep. Whack! Clang! Chip falls out of the ceiling. Nothing else.
Break all three of them. Really just destroy them.
Really go to try to eradicate them.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you can spend 10 minutes carefully chiseling them out. They're now completely gone.
Nothing?
Nothing, no monsters, no portals. You're just a bit wet, well, quite a bit wet and cold.
Okay.
Well, that was nothing. We have no problems. See? No terrible beasties.
Take one of the bits of stone that you've just chipped away and throw it at the collapse.
Okay. Hold my breath. Take the hat off. Hold it above while I try to reach down for a piece of rock.
Yeah.
Or chip a new one off.
That's more effort. Pull away some of the brick, some of the board. Just toss the rock through into the pile and see what happens to the rubble. Does it go through it or just bounce off?
Clink, splash.
Okay. The thought I had was previously whenever we've used spells, you put it on the object you wish to affect. So I was curious as to why it was on there. I mean, the only thing I could assume was it was the water was maybe going through there and he wanted to protect the tunnel from the effects of the portal.
Maybe.
But, I mean, that might have been it. I mean, maybe if you open a portal the Outer Dark, all hell breaks loose.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I am kind of interested in... Were we playing a completely different style of game out of character, I'd be really interested in clearing that blockage away just to get the water flowing again.
You see, we have time. We could do that.
Yeah, but it's not what the TV show's about.
No, that's true.
It's
We have no idea
archaeology.
how much of a problem or how deep the blockage is. It could be from here to the next well is collapsed. So,
Well, I could spend sort of an hour going at it for a while and seeing how bad the blockage is, because I can do it from the top down, just see how long the blockage goes. If it's not too far a blockage, then we can clear it properly afterward.
Yeah, if you do it from the top rather than from the bottom. I mean,
Yeah.
spend 10 minutes just to have a little bit of a go at it and have a look, but don't spend much time on it. The only other idea I have in my head is we know the direction this well system is going. We could go and see if we can find the next well.
Okay. What I'll do then, I'll move the plastic sheet out of the way and use the tape I'm holding the camera on, the helmet, move it off onto the plastic sheet with a torch, aim down, and I'll just spend the next 20 minutes just clearing away the top layers of the rubble and seeing how far that gets. Still can't see any kind of signs of anything past or anything like that, then I'll stop, pack up the gear and start heading back up.
Yeah, it very quickly comes obvious that this is a very solid collapse because it's some time old, so it's had lots of time to settle. So actually getting anything, even the size, even sort of like a half brick sized lump of stone out is quite difficult. And yeah, after 20 minutes, you've made no real progress at all.
This rebel not going anywhere.
Okay. Come on, back up.
We will. And on the way back up, what I'll do as well, I'm just going to, just as a precaution, just going to set up the plastic sheet at the front of the tunnel with the bracing around it, and, well, hope nothing comes through there, because I'm not superstitious at all about horrible things going through portals and tunnels coming out of the well and killing us all. At all.
Okay.
No worries at all.
No problem. Yep, and you'll get back at the top. Bloody cold, because but it's a hot day, of course. So you'll quickly warm up. So you had an idea, Jay?
Yeah, trying to see where the next well was.
Well, yeah, 'cause it was just sort of every sort of couple of miles, then yeah, there would be sort of other tunnel-like markings further down the valley to continue construction.
So we should be able to find something if we head on, if we go further down.
Okay. Yeah, you seems reasonable enough. You follow the direction down the tunnel. I mean, this is where you, as an archaeologist, comes in, because, to be honest, what looks like a pile of stones to you, Rima, jumps out as a feature to Christina. Yeah, a few hundred meters, maybe 300, 400 meters further down the valley, you think there's signs that there used to be an orchard here as well. There's just like stones which might have been a surrounding wall, which is like the one at the top of by the village. And yeah, there seems to be. You think there might have been a well here as well, but it has collapsed or been filled in or something. It's certainly no longer accessible.
Okay, so even if we were to try and get, I mean, there's not a lot of point trying to get this whole thing working anyway, but fishing out a map, Chris, and spreading it out on the bonnet of one of the trucks. If I know roughly where this is, and I roughly know where the village is, I'm going to get a pencil and a ruler and basically draw a line across the terrain.
Yeah.
How long does it take it before it gets to the river?
You're about 30 miles away, I think, from the river. So yeah, about that sort of distance. So down towards the river, it's relatively good source of water, obviously, and things down there. So your guess is probably this water system is probably not massive in the sense that it might run for a few miles, maybe as much as 10 or 15 miles, but you couldn't see the point of them running it any further.
Yeah. Okay. Just looking at going through my head. Basically, along that line, are there any other small villages?
No.
So the rest of the valley that we're in is completely empty?
Yeah, the rest of the valley sort of runs, it's quite narrow at this point, but it broadens up and joins other valleys further on.
I know there are villages in those valleys.
Yeah, is settlement and stuff is further down, but none of it particularly on the line. There's nothing, it's possible that this doesn't go in a straight line,
Yeah.
but there's no clue either way connecting any other
This is the only
settlements.
settlement in this little bit in this section, the narrow part of the valley.
Yeah, definitely.
That kind of implies to me, Kieran, that the well system, the blockage we encountered, is stopped the rest of it.
Yeah.
Or that
Awesome.
no one cared that it had collapsed because there was no one downstream who was using the wells.
Well, takes that idea out of the water, but it's one problem eliminated. Just can work out where they disappeared to. So it's either through a unknown portal, either in the village or in the sewer, in the well system, or another local settlement nearby has them, and no one's checked them yet.
Okay, well, we're coming up to 10 o'clock, so I suggest we wrap up. Then we'll have a piece to camera from both of you, I think, to wrap up and to sort of outline, well, okay, what do you do next, sort of thing. So, yeah, we'll start with you, Reem.
Very tricky. Not know if portal take people, or if people taken by other people elsewhere. We need to expand the search to other settlements nearby to see if they have noticed anyone strange or unusual, or someone who looked like Yasid has been through recently, as well as having Earl have a closer look at that tunnel, see if he can find anything unusual with the recent knowledge he's discovered from our last trip.
Okay, very good. Thumbs up from the producer. Christina.
Yes. One of those kind of investigations where we literally found the dead end. Would have been nice if we found more at the dead end. Does certainly tell us that we now have a name. Is an important thing. We have the name of the fourth man. With a name, we can find information. So what we will certainly be doing at the hotel this evening is getting stuck in and finding more about the Anid Yasid. Because the more we can learn about him, the more we might learn about his motives and what he might be up to. The other thing that is kind of disconcerting me is I don't think we're going to get much more information out of this village, this site, unless we stay the night. So we might need to get a large number of flashlights and a pretty reliable set of generators.
Okay, that's good. And actually, as your sort of plan, I mean, let's call it lunchtime. You've been here all morning investigating stuff. What is your plan, do you think?
Well, we know there's one settlement on the other side of one of the valley walls. Is the same true for the opposite valley wall as well?
It's possible. I mean, there will be settlements nearby down in that valley, but...
well, I'll probably go to the one I noticed yesterday, and sort of with a picture of Yasid and of the camera crew to see if they've seen those people.
Okay, so you
see if they've got the same kind of well system anyway, just in case. That kind of thing, so check on what kind of settlement they have. Is it the same kind of age, based on what I've seen, the same kind of well?
Yeah.
See what they know locally.
Okay, so you're thinking of sort of a bit of old-fashioned police work and going to ask and show pictures and stuff.
Yes.
Jay, what do you think?
Essentially preparing to spend the night here to find out what goes on.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Much better prepared for something weird. For the TV crew were obviously prepared for some kind of minor haunting event. They were not expecting all hell to break loose. I think given the fact that we pretty much know all hell's going to break loose, we're going to be a damn sight better prepared.
Okay, right. So so on the agenda for next week we'll be talking to villagers and spending the night. Okay, that's great. We'll finish it there. We'll be back next week for another playtest as we continue this adventure on. Oh, before we go, any sort of feedback on sort of like the clues and general this section of the adventure?
No, I'm good. All good. Fine. Happy.
I'm I'm good. There's been plenty of little clues here and there that are also leading around to appropriate red herrings and appropriate next links.
Good. Okay, yeah, it worked pretty well from my end. Okay, that's great. So thank you very much, guys. Yeah, we're back here next week for another playtest. If you'd like to take part in any of your playtests, just get in touch. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.